Hello, I decided to make yet another Nordics guide for GeoGuessr. I created this kind of a map, which I'm using making this video. This contains only the continental parts of these 5 countries. I excluded Greenland, Svalbard, Faroe Islands, because they are something different. So, let's look at the typical landscapes and the differences between these countries. This is clearly Denmark. This is very, very flat, and there are lots of fields. The middle lines are white, and the sidelines are solid. And here are a lot of bushes, and there aren't very much of evergreen trees in Denmark. Here you can see some spruces, but they aren't in majority in Denmark. Also, this bollard is Denmark style. This is also clearly Denmark. Lots of fields, very flat landscape and white middle lines. This is a typical Finnish countryside road. First we have these solid sidelines, yellow closing lines, which are typical to Finland. They are actually now changing them to white, but this footage is so old that they are yellow. And Finland also has very much footage taken in autumn, so the trees are getting yellow. This is probably from early October. But this road looks very Finnish. This is also very typical Finnish countryside road. You see the solid sidelines and double yellow closing lines in the middle, spruces and birch trees, which are everywhere in Finland. But don't trust only those trees, because those trees grow in Sweden and Norway too. And this is clearly Iceland. No trees, quite greenish, white middle lines, quite harsh paving on the road, and these yellow bollards is clear mark from Iceland. This landscape is very typical. And Iceland. No trees, yellow bollards, white middle lines. The landscape can be quite similar in northern Norway, but they have yellow middle lines. This is a typical Norwegian road. There's rock here and water on the other side. Yellow dashed lines in the middle. That's a very clear mark of Norway. And these sidelines are solid when the road is wide enough to have 2 full lanes. And look at this landscape. This is beautiful, mountains and everything. This is also very typical Norway. There are lots of mountains, and the road goes very near to the water. And here the road is so narrow that there are not 2 full lanes, so they have these 3-meter long dashed lines on the sides and no middle lines at all. Very typical Norwegian landscape. And this is a very typical Swedish countryside road. They have these short dashed sidelines and white middle lines, also these closing lines. This is also Sweden. Short dashed sidelines and no middle line. This is somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Can be almost anywhere in Sweden, but these dashes are a very clear mark. Okay, next let's look at the road signs and the languages. Denmark uses this kind of a framed signs. This frame is constructed from some pipe, and this red color, and also there are similar with blue color, are used only in Denmark. And also there is this letter A and letter Ö, which are used only in Denmark and Norway, except this A is used in Iceland too. These can be seen in the biggest cities in Denmark. The roads which have O and number. This is clearly O, not a zero. These are the ring roads or beltways that go around those cities. Here are very good examples of Finnish signs. Firstly, these black and white signs. These point just some suburbs in Helsinki, so these names aren't visible until you know exactly what city are you in and you zoom close enough. You can show, for example, this place. You can see here is Ruoholahti. You see here is Ruoholahti and here is Lauttasaari, where this is pointing. But when I zoom to this, they aren't visible anymore. This can also contain just general words like here railway station or here to the center, so they can be in any town. In Finnish language you see very much this letter Ä. There's Leivonmäki, same like here Jyväskylä. That letter is very common in Finnish language. This is a very good example of Finnish language. Firstly, Finnish has very much of double letters here, U's and double A's, because this is pronounced Tuupovaara. If there were only single of these, it would be Tupovara. So that's only the Finnish writing system. Also, Finnish has quite a lot of these letters Ö and Ä. So this is Öllölä, actually quite funny place name to us Finns too. Here are some Icelandic signs. You see there are those Icelandic specific letters like this the, and Ö is like in Sweden and Finland, and ur ending place names. This is very Icelandic. Here we can see Icelandic signs which are somehow similar like in Denmark, because these use this blue and red color, and here you can see that letter Ä, which is used in Norway and Denmark too. But then there is this letter th, and that's the capital version. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it, but I guess it's like in English word this. So that letter is used only in Iceland and Faroe Islands, and this is higher than in Denmark. Here we can see the Norwegian signs, which are very often with yellow background and black arrows. And also you see these road numbers. This dashed border means in all these countries that you are not on this road number, for example this E134, but this is a way that leads to that road. So it's very important to understand that this dashed border means that you are not exactly on that road yet. Here you can see that we are on road 47. This is not dashed, and these signs which are on white background, they are very local. These point to a hospital and some schools, so don't waste your time on these until you know exactly in which town you are. You won't find these from the map when you are in high level of zooming. And this is a good example. You are on road 47, and by driving this road you can get to E39. This is dashed. And the yellow background with black arrows. This is a Swedish local sign. It has yellow background and red arrow and red border. So these are usually the places that you won't find from the map before you zoom in very near. Swedes have also this kind of white signs with black text, but these aren't not places exactly either. This is a swimming place, literally swimming place, and you won't find these from map until you are really near. One thing to notice is that there is no Gothenburg in Sweden. It is Göteborg in Swedish. So you won't find that from the map, but you won't find Gothenburg from the signs either. And by the way, the same is with Copenhagen in Denmark. You won't find it. It is written like this, Copenhagen in Danish. I think I butchered that word, but anyway. And then the street signs. Holbergsgade. Gade is Danish for street, and that's bluish background. It looks very Danish. And here is another Pederskramsgade, clearly Danish. Again, this kind of a pipe, and the street sign is hanging from it, and road is Vej with J in Danish, and this is also with red text. And here is Dalum Vej with J in the end. Here is a Finnish street sign. Yliopiston katu. Katu is street in Finnish, and Universitetsgatan, which is the same thing, the university street in Swedish. And because this is bilingual, it's clear that you are somewhere in western or southern coast. Those are bilingual areas. Tie is literally road in Finnish, and there is the same in Swedish under. Vägen is Swedish for a road. This is an Icelandic street sign. It's blue. I don't know if there are blue outside of Reykjavik, but at least there they are. Bergdorfdu gata. Gata is Icelandic. If there is N in the end, it's Swedish. But that special letter and acute O tell us that that's Icelandic. And this is of course from Iceland, because this road is Víkur Vegur. I'm possibly butchering that, but Vegur is Icelandic for road. Here is another Gangvegur, and anyway, ur ending places and names are very common in Iceland. Fred Olsen's gate. Gate with T is Norwegian. It's not gate, it's gate. Rådhusgata, it can also be gata. And this is Norwegian. Veien with an I is Norwegian. It can be also only Vei. This N in the end means that it's the road. Drottninggatan, Queen Street. Gatan is Swedish for street, and this is Swedish. Leksevägen with an A and G. And then let's look at the speed limit signs. This is a Danish speed limit sign. It's hanging from this arched pipe, and it has white background. Finland has a little bit narrower font than the other Nordic countries, and from this 0 you can see that these side lines are straight up from down. The background is yellow, and there is a little yellow outside that red ring. The Icelandic version is quite similar to Swedish one. Around 0 and yellow background. Norwegian style of speed limit sign, it has white background, and white background is used in Denmark too. And this is the Swedish one. It has yellow background like in Finland, but this number 0 is like oval. In Finland, these sides are straight up to down, so the font is different. And something about the road numbers. This is something I said in Norway. The road numbers in these boxes have dashed outlines or borders. And as I told you, it means that you are not on that road, but you are on a way that leads to that road. From here you can see the Finnish road numbering. This is the national main road number 4, and it's the same road like E75. And on Google Maps it shows only this E75 until you zoom very closely and you will see this is also national number 4. It can make things a lot easier if you understand something about the numbering systems of these countries. In Finland, Sweden and Norway you should focus on roads that have 3 or 4 digits, like here. Basically, in all of these 3 countries, the first digit of those numbers race from south to north. So if you, for example, you see in Finland some road that begins with number 9, like for example this is 971, don't waste your time on searching it from the south, because it begins with 9, it is here in the north. In Sweden those end something like 404, but Finland and Norway have them even beginning with 9. In Denmark it's a little bit different. From the first digit you see the area. We can see these 3 number roads beginning with 1 here, and let's look at here also 1 but also 3. I think in Denmark this is not so clear like in Finland, Sweden and Norway. And here the first number is 4, and if we look at north here they begin with 5. There is some kind of system. And then in Iceland there is road number 1 which goes all around the Iceland, and the others go somehow regionally, that here are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And then let's look at some other helpful details. In Sweden all these kind of warning signs, these are in Swedish colors, blue and yellow. This is from Norway, but these arrows and warning signs have similar colors in Norway, Finland and Iceland. And in Denmark they are white and red, like Danish flag. And here we can see that we are in Denmark because this little lorry and this van have yellow plates. Yellow plates are also used in taxis in Sweden, but if you see a yellow plate on a van, it's very clear hint that you are in Denmark. Here's also one Denmark hint. That plate it has a blue stripe and then it's half yellow and half white. These are used only in Denmark. And here is a clear mark, a green plate on a van. That's clearly Norway. the green plates aren't used in the other countries in question. This kind of poles in Norway are sometimes very useful. There is road number and kilometers from some bigger intersection. Here we can see that this is E6 and 13.5 kilometers from some intersection. They can be very helpful. These signs have yellow background only in Iceland. And this is a very good meta. If you know that you are in Finland, if you see a tram, you are in Helsinki, because there are also trams in Tampere, but the footage from Finland is so old that trams are visible only in Helsinki. And this is a little bonus. The tricky Åland Islands. Åland Islands are an autonomous part of Finland, but everybody there speaks Swedish, and Swedish is the only official language there. The tricky thing is that it looks very much like Sweden. These dashed lines on the sides of the road, which are not anywhere in continental Finland, and then there are these red main road numbers which are independent. They overlap with these road numbers here. For example, here is number 2, but there is other number 2 here in Åland because they have their own road numberings. You can see that here this has a Finnish font, that narrow one, and for example this O letter has these straight up down sidelines, and this is because this is state-owned sign. But here in Åland the municipalities have bought a lot of signs from Sweden, so Swedish font is also very common here. So this can be very tricky. By the way, very beautiful municipality welcoming sign. This is Sund municipality. And this color is also unique, white and blue. One very good hint is that the paving here is reddish. The stone is somehow red here. There you can see from that house. This is not paved, but this sand is red. It's typical of that area. In Åland you can also see a lot of water everywhere because it consists of tens of thousands of islands. Sund, I have been here. This is a very beautiful place. Here are ruins of a fortress which was blown up in 1854. Here in Åland you can also find 90 km speed limit, which is non-existent in continental Finland. And this is one Åland thing also. The bus stop has this kind of yellow arc, or is this no, it isn't rainbow, it's just yellow arc. I haven't seen these anywhere else but in Åland. And this sign points to the capital of Åland, Mariehamn. But yes, don't get confused with Åland, Finland and Sweden. It's some kind of a hybrid between these countries. And by the way, very beautiful area. And it has its own TLD AX. And then the last tip. If you want to get good scores in the Nordic countries, it's very helpful if you memorize some main cities. Of course, the capitals, but then also some main cities, because it's very often helpful when you see a sign with kilometers to some main cities. First, I can say from Finland you should memorize Turku, Tampere, Jyväskylä, and Oulu. There are so many signs which point to these cities. And from Sweden, you should memorize Malmö, Göteborg, and Sundsvall. Here in northern Sweden, there are a lot of signs which tell the kilometers to Sundsvall. And from Norway, Bergen, Stavanger, and Trondheim are quite obvious, and then maybe Tromsø north here. And Denmark, you should remember Odense, which is here in Fyn Island, and then the bigger ones, Aarhus and Aalborg. These are good to memorize. And from Iceland, of course, the capital Reykjavik, and then Akureyri, which is here. This guide is far from any kind of complete one, but hope this helps you to get the better scores. Good luck and thanks.